a family law attorney, Lené Alley DeRudder, to come in and talk about this. You have seen a lot of relationship demises in your time, Lené. So let's talk about this study.
So it's funny, Carlos, you said it, when you know what your political what party you're aligned with before you got married, of course you would. It's how they evolve through the marriage. So you have 10-year marriages, 15, 20, 30, and people evolve, their political ideologies evolve. So now you're dealing with people who are kind of, one person's going to one side of the fence and the other person's going to the other side of the fence, and they're so passionate and intense about it, they can't reconcile. And a lot of times what happens in divorce is that you start having differences like that, and then you lose respect for that person. And you associate them with somebody, for example, like Trump. I mean, Trump elicits such intense feelings. So you're associating your husband, oh, he thinks like Trump, he likes Trump, I can't stand him. And next thing you know, you can't even look at your husband, you wish you wouldn't even breathe. That's kind of how people get. I mean, it's horrible.
That's
but
intense.
It's so much emotion. And I think that our political environment is just magnifying that. I saw something the other day that I read that it said it's the most polarized political environment since like the 60s.
Right.
And that's just manifesting into relationships and marriages that are already probably struggling,
Right. It's not like, I mean, I would imagine, the study didn't look that deep into it, but I wouldn't imagine like a totally happy, healthy marriage, with this one political deviation would, implode. I feel like that marriage probably has some other issues, and just, the politics might put you over the edge.
Right, exactly. And so I think a lot of that comes down to communication, because I can't, even though we deal with a lot of mental health professionals, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a political scientist, so it's hard to address some of the social aspect of that and from a statistical standpoint. But from what I see as a family law practitioner, people are coming in, and communication is a lot of times the biggest issue. They think it's finances and things like that, but it's the communication of all those issues. So now you're throwing this layer on there of this political issue in an environment that is so tumultuous and so divided, and people have no tolerance or patience. And the interesting thing I think about the religion versus the politics is that with religion, you do have those discussions when you begin, and when you date and you get engaged, and there's a lot more interfaith marriages, and so that's become very acceptable. And for some reason now, with the heightened emotion and the heightened intensity around our political system, or our political parties, people can't even talk about it. Right? Can't even talk about it. So,
I remember a while ago, Lisa went to an elementary school, and she was there for a debate.
Oh, yes.
And they were doing a debate in the classroom, small children, and one of the things that they taught them was to respectfully disagree.
That's right.
And the idea of respecting somebody's opposite opinion was, I think, really at the crux of the discussion of how to argue your point without being offensive or disrespectful. And Lisa says that the little girl would say, "I respectfully disagree," and then state the point. And it's funny, as we get older and older, we seem to have lost the ability to respect other people for their opinion, whether you're married to them or not.
Right, exactly. Well, so take the Mueller hearings, try to have a couple that talks about that's on opposite sides of the political fence. Right. I mean, if you look to social media, just with your friends and friends who have different opinions, it's blowing up with not just, hey, I agree, I don't agree. It's very intense feelings, very, very intense feelings. And emotion is already high when you have people coming in for divorces, people on the edge thinking, I might want a divorce. They are already in a very emotional state. And, part of it is one of the things in our firm where I work at that we're very, very mindful of is sort of the emotional amygdala hijack. So when our emotions take over, it's your thinking brain. Your thinking brain kind of goes by, and it's all reactive. And so that's what you've got. You've got a very divisive political environment. You've got, people very heated about certain people and then, or certain candidates or elected officials, and then you're aligning your spouse as having the same belief systems or morals or values as someone that you despise, and then you can't even talk about it because you're just so upset, and you're,
Right.
we do this little thing like, this is your thinking brain. It is just flipped and it's gone.
Yeah,
Wow.
So there's no
Wow.
conversation.
So
Right?
I want to just ask Lené. I mean, I'm sure in the more than 100 divorces that unfortunately you've had to kind of deal with in your professional career, is there a way to come back from this? Like, is there a way to mediate around
How
it,
do we
maybe?
learn from this? Yeah.
Or is there a way to just avoid coming to? I don't want to dissuade people from doing business with you, but I'm just saying, is there a way to not see you in divorce court?
Right. Lisa, I am very happy for you to dissuade people from doing business with me. I'm not an advocate for
You
divorce.
got plenty of business.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that's a sad topic. It's around, I think, if you're having these issues, I mean, find a way to talk about it. If you can't talk about it between the two of you, get someone involved, get a counselor, because it's not really about my husband loves Trump and he's crazy and I love Hillary and how can you not? It's really about you're aligning that person with that belief system. And so you're losing respect for them. Right. And you're not able to communicate and find commonality as to, okay, we don't see things the same, but there's got to be somewhere where we come together, and you're probably not this monster that I'm aligning you with or whatever. And so find a counselor, or I don't know, read a book together that addresses communication. There's a book called Crucial Conversations. Get that book and do that book together. I mean, of how you're going to talk about it. Fight for your marriage. I mean, don't let something like
advice.
Politics divide you.
Very good advice, Lené.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it, and it's very expensive road to go down, Lené.
yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.